Hello everyone, this is Dr. Achal and I welcome you all again in our subject module titled as Services Marketing. So, earlier also we have discussed the concept of price and pricing. We have also understood the concept regarding what are the factors which are influencing the setting and the establishment of the prices for a service product and the important variables which are affecting the determination of the prices for the service offerings by the service provider. And what are the important types that can be seen by a business provider, that is a service provider, to go in for and to choose a particular type of the selection of the pricing strategy for the purpose of determining the prices of its product. Now, in today's deliberation, we will be moving out with another topic that is associated with the service pricing policies and its strategy. So, let us move into, now this slide says that here. Now, this slide, according to this slide, it says that the service pricing policy, it is also known as the pricing strategy, which is a company's approach to determine the prices for its services. The goal of every pricing policy is to ensure that the company is profitable while also being fair and consistent with the customers. A good pricing policy can help a company to manage the cost, grow the business, make quick adjustments and take the advantage of their strength. Now, this slide says that the service policy, what is the concept of the service policy? We know that the service policy, as it is being written here, that the service policy is also being talked of as a service strategy, and every company, before determining the prices of its product, it has to take into consideration that whatever fixation of the value for its offerings that are being determined by it should be in consonance towards meeting out the expectations of the target audience. At the same point of time, it should be fair and justifiable from the competitor's point of view, because we are providing out our offerings in such a competitive scenario wherein there is already the presence of the different alternative brands, and in order to just make sure that our value of your offerings are very much being equitable enough from the customer's point of view, they are equitable and they are justifiable from the competitor's point of view, that has to be ensured upon. So, pricing policies, it definitely deals with the strategy which the company undergoes and the company tries to fulfill upon for the purpose of achievement of its corporate objectives. We have discussed many times that for any organization, every organization before its establishment, they are trying to draft their vision and the mission, and within the parameters of the vision and the mission, they are trying to draft and derive the different kind of subsidiary objectives and the departmental objectives according to their own discretion. And we very well know that every department, every organization, they do have different kind of functional departments to talk of, and these functional departments are in the form of the production, marketing, finance, HR and R&D development department. In every functional department or area, we can have a creation of the different units and the sections, and other bifurcations can be done depending upon the feasibility and the viability of your organizational structure. So, here we are seeing that pricing is as one of the very sensitive element which is in the hands of the marketers, and they are trying to generate revenue for the business organization. So, all the strategies that are being crafted and developed for fixation of the value of the offerings that is being disposed of by the service provider in the market area should be of such a nature that is they are having not a capability to gain out the profitable advantage. As it is being written here in the slide, that the goal of every pricing policy is to ensure that the company is in profitable position and also fair and consistent with the customers. Definitely, all our efforts that are being channelized by the service provider, by the marketer, is to just meet out the needs and the aspirations of the people at large. Not only we are targeting out our efforts to meet out the aspirations and the expectations of our target audience, but at the same point of time, we are ensuring that its benefits, the offerings which we are trying to propose, its benefits should be enlarged, it should be spread to the society at large, and that is what is being talked of as in a concept of holistic marketing concept. Now, we are seeing that definitely if our efforts are being made and we are just trying to operate in this competitive scenario, there should be an objective to reap out the surplus gains, but at the same point of time, that should be equitable and that should be fair and consistent enough towards meeting out the expectations and the aspirations of the target audience. Now, what is an objective and how this particular pricing strategy or the pricing policy will be beneficial from the company's point of view? We know that every strategy or every planning process that is being drafted by any company, by by any business organization. They have some certain kind of objectives to fulfill upon. Similarly, as we know that price is one of the pricing strategy. It is one of the component of the 7 P's that is being undertaken by the service provider towards giving out a customized and the personalized approach to the target audience. So, as price is one of the tool to generate revenue for the business enterprise, and rest of all the 6 P's, that is in the form of the product, place, promotion, people, process and physical evidence, they are definitely such a component which incurs cost, and wherein we have to incur certain kind of outlays to get into the the production process, or to get into the certain kind of transaction process. But the price is one of the element which is very much being sensitive enough, because nowadays each and every customer, each and every consumer, they are becoming more price sensitive. Before moving in for the purchase process, we know that they are making certain kind of logical deductions. Analysis power is being taken care of by them. Similarly, they just try to evaluate the different kind of alternative options that are available in them for them, because we are surviving in the monopolistic competitive conditions, wherein the different kind of offerings are being proposed by a large number of service providers. The business organizations are there existing in the competitive scenario, and there is a perfect knowledge between two of the parties, that is the producers and the customers. Both are having perfect knowledge with regard to competitive conditions, and differentiation is also being seen in terms of the different variants of the same brand, of the same offering, which is being proposed by the which is being proposed by you as a producer, or which is already being existing there in the competitive scenario in the form of the proposition that is being made by their competitors. So, here the differentiation of the product, the differentiation of the offering is also being witnessed, and this competitive scenario, that is monopolistic competitive scenario, is one of the very pragmatic market form that can be seen, and that is really being witnessed in today's dynamic environment. So, establishment of the pricing strategies and its policies has to be drafted into a very it should be drafted taking into consideration a very sensitive kind of way, because definitely if you are just moving for the establishment of the establishment or the setting of the prices for your offerings, definitely it should be very much being consistent enough with your competitors' strategy also. Now, for the purpose of fulfillment of the objectives, we can have a different kind of objectives to go in for, and every organization, they have an objective for the purpose of survival. They have an objective to get themselves grow and to prosper. They have an objective to make a flexible approach in their in the way of the transaction that they are happening on. They have an objective to strengthen out their competitive element, to strengthen out their competitive gains. So, all these kind of objectives can be seen if a company or if a service provider is trying to fix the prices for its product. Basically, here the product is intangible in nature, here the product is very variable in nature, they are perishable in nature. So, the service provider, they just try to take into consideration all these factors which are basically helpful for the purpose of establishment or pursuing a good pricing policy for the company. And here as it is being written here in the slide, that the good pricing policy will be helpful for a company to manage its cost, to grow the business, to make quick adjustments and to take the advantages of their strength. Definitely, many times we have talked the same fact that our effort for the purpose of delivering a good kind of offering to your target audience, it is being done keeping into consonance the cost benefit analysis. We are just trying to analyze the different kind of costs that are being incurred in the form of the direct cost, in the form of the indirect cost, and then we are trying to analyze that whether this particular cost incurrence that we are undertaking, whether this cost incurrence is good enough or not to go in for, and whether the benefits that we are reaping in terms of the profitable gains in due course of time, whether that will be in consonance with or not. Because if the cost factor is very much being substantial enough, and we as a marketer, we are not being able to recoup our fixed cost or the variable cost which is being incurred for the proposition of the offering, definitely our effort will not be good enough to talk of. So, we have to recoup our these kind of costs which are very much being imperative enough to recover, then only we will be in a position to survive, and eventually with the passage of time will be growing and will be prospering in the due course of time. So this is what is being talked of in the slide also, that is managing the cost, growing of the business, all our efforts, because we know that every business transaction or every business entity, they have an objective of the perpetual cessation. We are not establishing our business organization or the entity only for the sake of continuing its existence only for a limited period of time, like suppose we can say that we are thinking of to run its course for 5 years or for 10 years or for 20 years. It is not so. So that is why there is a maxim which says that here every business entity and every business organization, they have characteristics of the perpetual cessation, and the perpetual cessation itself speaks of the fact that here every organization which is being established in this competitive scenario, their identity are different from the owner's identity, and irrespective of the fact that they, any kind of contingent event is happening with the entity, but the entity will be trying to maintain its existence, and its identity will continue to grow, and it will continue to evolve with the passage of time in the future years. That is the concept of the perpetual cessation. It will continue to grow again. I mean, it will continue to grow for a longer period of time. Now, making quick adjustments, it is also one of the objective of a good pricing policy which is being offered by a service provider. We are very much being sure enough that our efforts are being targeted, they are being crafted towards meeting out the needs, and certain kind of needs are sometimes they are latent needs which is being seen on the part of the customers and the part of the consumers. So here sometimes the service providers, they are just provoking, they are evoking the latent needs which is being seen on the part of the consumers and the customers. So as the future is uncertain, we can definitely say that if the customers are not they are not even aware of that there is something there existing in the market area, and if you are trying to purchase and consume those kind of offerings, our will be able to live in a comfortable lifestyle. So that kind of motivation, that kind of persuasion, that kind of generation, triggering of the latent need should be made by the service providers, so that the customers and the consumers will be getting an inclination to buy out and consume out your products. So making out a quick adjustment with regard to the establishment of the value that you are trying to suppose that you are trying to fix regarding the different offerings that you are trying to propose and dispose of in the market area should be very much being flexible enough. Keeping in view your competitors' strategy, the flexibility is being talked of in the sense that if there are any kind of changes that are happening in the environment with regard to technological changes, with regard to political changes, or with regard to economic changes, we as a marketer, we should be very much being agile and proactive enough to sense out those kind of changes, because working in any of the capacity, working in any of the functional area, like if you are working as a production manager, or if you are working as a marketing manager, sometimes we do have to play the role of the finance manager. There is a department which is trying to take care of the need of the research and development area. So all these functional areas are existing in any kind of establishment or any kind of entity. So making out a quick adjustment with regard to the pricing policy is also being talked of, because it is also very much being imperative enough to foresee or to predict, because we are surviving in this very dynamic kind of environment. So keeping in view or sensing out the futuristic changes, we have to adapt, or we have to go in for making certain kind of improvisation, making certain kind of changes in our drafting of the pricing policy that is being pursued by the firm. Now, the last point that says that taking the advantages of the strength, definitely we have said that the strength factor, they are the internal variables which are being present in the environment, and which is being present not in the environment, which is being present in your organizational structure. And you as a manager working in any of the functional area, definitely we are limiting our discussion towards the functional area of the marketing discipline, the marketing area. So here the marketing managers has to just foresee that what are the variables which are being present in the establishment, and they are being termed as a favorable and a very favorable and a very positive kind of variable to chalk into for, or to figure it out, so that can be transformed as that can be transformed as a strength factor for them. So this kind of sensing ability, this kind of forecasting ability, this kind of making out the analytical kind of decision, taking out a decisive power, having out a logical deductions, that is being present, and that should be present within the personality of the service provider, that should be present within the personality of the marketing manager. Then only they will be in a position to just change out certain kind of weaknesses into the strength factors for them. So Pricing policy is also a policy or the strategy that is being pursued to fulfill out the objective of strengthening out those kind of variables which are terming as a weakness, or in other words we can say that those kind of variables which are already being present in your establishment as a strengthening factor can more be substantially being strengthened enough if we are pursuing out in a good pricing policy in due course of time. So, moving on to the next slide. This slide says that this is all about the pricing strategy component, or the components that can be seen in case of pricing strategy decisions. Now, the very first component, as being said in the slide, that it's all being talked of in a cost plus pricing. We are in a competitors analysis, there is a promotional strategy, sales channel is there, value proposition is there, market or the customer segmentation analysis is also being talked of. So, cost plus pricing strategy. Moving to the next slide. Now, this cost plus pricing strategy as one of the component of the pricing strategy element. Now, this says that it involves calculating all the expenses associated with your product or the services, such as service cost, development time, the marketing expenses, and then adding profit margin to ensure sustainability. We have said many times that in case of the service offering, there are the certain kind of direct cost and indirect cost, or the fixed cost or the variable cost definitely has to be incurred upon, but their nature is being changed, because here we are not trying to produce out the tangible commodities or the physical commodities, but our commodities and our offerings are somewhat they are intangible in nature. So, those costs will be, their nature will be changed, but I mean their nomenclature can be changed, but their nature will be the same. Like we have to incur the fixed cost, we have to incur the variable cost, and semi variable cost also has to be incurred upon. So, these kind of fixed cost or the semi variable cost, which may be in the form of, like it's being written here in the slide, that they may be terming out in the form of the server cost or the development time or the marketing expenses has to be incurred upon. So, all these costs may be in the terms of payment of the wages and the salaries to the workers, or maybe in the terms of payment of the rent and the electrical charges, electricity charges, the freight charges that you have to burn upon for the purpose of proper disposition of your services or the offerings to your target audience. All this has to be borne into the mind by the service provider, then only they will be trying to add up these kind of important variables, and definitely after adding up these different kind of components, that is in the form of the fixed and the indirect cost and the variable and the semi variable cost, they will be finalizing out the final prices of their products by keeping a certain margin over it. Now, this particular margin will be coming out to talked of as a profitable gain or a profitable component for the service provider, and this is what is being talked of as a strategy that is being defined as a cost plus pricing strategy. Now, moving to the next slide, moving to the next component, that is the competitors analysis. This says that it examines what similar products or services are priced at by your competitors, giving you an insight on the market rates. Definitely all our efforts are being made keeping into consonance the competitors strategy, because we are surviving in this competitive scenario. We cannot just go in an isolated way. We have to just ensure that whatever strategies, whatever policies that are being drafted by the competitors who are in direct who are providing you in a direct threat, or who are in the same line of the business giving you a direct competition. So, their pricing strategy should also be analyzed, and you as a service provider, you have to just ensure that you are being able enough to just make an alignment with the pricing strategies which the competitors are trying to go in for, because you are living in this very cutthroat competition. Now, the next component, that is the value proposition. It says that the unique benefits of your product offers, which should influence your pricing strategy to reflect its true value rather than just its cost. Now, the value proposition is one of the component of the pricing strategy, and says that here every business organization, every establishment, they are trying to procure out the inputs from the market, and they are trying to add on the value. They are creating value, they are being engaged in the value creation, and then the after the value creation, the resultant final output is being produced, and they are being disposed of the market area to satiate out the needs and the wants of the target audience. So, that value creation, the value proposition is one of the very important and sensitive element to talk of, because here if you are trying to create a value which is something distinct, having a value which is very much unique in nature as compared to the value or the benefits which the competitors are trying to give in the market area, definitely you will be able to come out within a unique kind of identity. Your product will be you will be able to differentiate out your products from your competitors in a very unique kind of way, and that says that this particular statement says the fact that if you are able to come out with a unique kind of proposition, that distinct image will be helping you out to build up a brand loyalty for the customers, because the customers will be thinking of that by paying out the same amount of cost in the terms of the prices that they are paying out. They are getting something new which is very much being unique and distinct enough from the value, from the benefits that the competitors' products are giving to them. So, this is not the case wherein we have to only take care of the cost factor, but here the benefits and the utilities that the customers are trying to go in for with the purchase and with the consumption of every offering should be of unique in nature. Then only you will be in a position to create a competitive advantage as compared to the competitors. Now, the next slide says that here the customer segmentation, and the customer segmentation, it says that you have to estimate your market size and categorize your audience based on the needs and the budgets, allowing you to adjust prices accordingly, like offering discounts to the budget conscious customers, like while providing the premium features for those willing to pay more. Now, customer segmentation, it is entailing you have to estimate your market size and categorize your audience based on the needs and the budgets, allowing you to adjust prices accordingly, like offering discounts to those budget conscious customers while providing premium features to those who are willing to pay more. Now, the customer segmentation strategy is also one of the strategies that is very much being sensitive enough to go in for, and after segmentation, targeting and positioning is being done. Now, segmentation, many times we have discussed the same fact that it is not feasible for any kind of marketer, whether the marketer is being engaged in the manufacturing of the physical commodities or whether the marketer is trying to offer you the services. Any marketer who is operating in this competitive scenario, they are not very much being like it's not feasible for them to satiate the divergent needs and the wants of the different group of people who are residing in the society. So, what they are trying to do, they are just trying to find out a common resemblance among the divergent set of needs and the aspirations which the people are holding in the society. They are finding out a common resemblance amongst them, and this strategy of finding out the common resemblance is what is being talked of as a strategy of pursuing out the segmentation. So, they are dividing out the market area and finding out the common resemblance, maybe on the basis of the economic determinant, maybe on the basis of the competitors' validation, maybe on the basis of the product features, its uses, or the frequency of the use of the product. It may so happen that they are trying to go in for the demographic variables to segment out the market area, and then they are choosing out the profitable and the feasible kind of market area wherein they can be able to target out their efforts to satiate out the needs and the wants of their chosen target segment. So, this is a market segmentation. It says that here for the purpose of fixing and establishing the prices of your offerings, you have to just ensure that your target audience, if you have pursued out the segmentation strategy very efficiently, very diligently, then you will be able to know out that who are the target audience who are very much being capable enough to just to take out your strategy and to just come out with your strategy in alignment with the pricing strategy that you are trying to float in the market area, and they are willing enough to pay out higher prices for your valued proposition of the services. It may so happen, but there are certain times it is being seen that there are certain kind of customers, there are certain categories of the customers that they are not having an accessibility factor with the pricing that you are trying to propose, and they are not very much being willing enough to pay a higher and the premium prices for the for your offering. So, for those customers who are very much price sensitive, you have to give them discount at certain point of time, and if the customers are having an affordability factor, they are having an accessibility factor with regard to the valued kind of pricing that you are trying to propose or that you are trying to fix, or the premium pricing that you are trying to fix for your valued offerings, then those premium or customers can be targeted enough. Like we can take an example, suppose the discount is being given to frequent flyers, airline industry is giving out the discount to the frequent flyers, the tourists who are very frequently visiting to the hotels and the restaurants, they are giving them a discount factor because they are knowing out the fact that they are frequent visitors to that hotel or industry. Similarly, the people who are frequently using out the airline mode for the purpose of the commutation, they are giving we are giving them in a discount factor to them. And if the people, if you as a service provider, you are targeting out a highly light kind of people, highly light customer, then you have to give them not only the economical fair, that particular economical class cannot be given to them. We can be able, because we know that their affordability factor is more, and they can be like they are willing enough to pay higher prices for the purpose of getting that comfort, that status, that recognition. So they can be charged at a higher price, and similarly the premium factor, the premium kind of like advantage can be given to those offerings, to those customers who are very much being willing enough to get the extra kind of benefits by the offerings that are being proposed by the service provider. Now the next component says that the sales channel, and here the sales channel are impacting your pricing structure similar to choosing an efficient delivery method for your product. The sales channel, it says that the sales channels are impacting your pricing structure similar to choosing an efficient delivery method for your product. Now sales channel is all being related within a delivery mode, it is all being related with a distribution channel. So here as in a service provider, we have to ensure that firstly we have to look into for the nature of the service offering that we are trying to go in for, like whether the service, this particular kind of offering is being targeted towards the light audience, or whether the offering is suitably being proposed for a middle people, for the middle class income bracket people, or whether it is being targeted for the masses at large. So this kind of thing has to be borne in the mind by the service provider before fixation of the prices. Similarly, they have to just look into for that whether choosing out a particular mode of distribution channel will be good enough, and it will be reasonable enough to gain a surplus kind of position to them, because all our efforts are being channelized to reap out in surplus gains. So before moving for a particular kind of mode of giving out a disposition, proper disposition of the offering to the target audience, we have to ensure that the sales channel or the distribution channel should be good enough in terms of the meeting out the objectives of your organization, in terms of giving out a greater affordability and accessibility to your target audience, in view of meeting out the expectations of the society at large, in view of fulfilling out your objective, because your objective should also be fulfilled, and that is the objective of gaining out the surplus. Now the next point, it says that the promotional strategies should align with the pricing approach, ensuring that any discounts or promotions are effectively communicated to attract the potential customers and emphasize the value that they receive. Now promotional strategies, we know that every organization, they do have to incur certain kind of promotion to talk of, and these promotions are very much being imperative enough, because we have to inform, we have to make the customers aware at certain point of time. Even if the customers are already being informed, they are aware. If you are making certain kind of improvisation, certain differentiation is being done in any of the value, in any of the level of the or your offering, you have to give them a proper knowledge, you have to give them a proper awareness, and the motivation factor should also be inculcated with them in the purchase process. So the promotional strategy, it says that it should be aligned with your pricing approach, ensuring that the discounts or promotions are effectively communicated to attract the potential customers, emphasis that they value, and the emphasis should be placed on the value that they receive. Definitely, if certain promotions, if certain sales promotion is being organized for the shorter period of time, if limited kind of discount offer is being given to them, if certain kind of premium or certain kind of offering is being associated with certain kind of premium factor, then all these kind of changes, all these kind of promotional appeals which the marketers are trying to go in for, that has to be communicated effectively, and that should be in consonance with the meeting out the objectives of your pricing strategy. Because if discount is being associated with your value proposition, definitely the original value of your offering will be slashed down. Similarly, if the premium factor, if the premium pricing strategy is being followed, then definitely the original price of your product, of your offering will be enhanced enough, or even if you are going in for the promotional, any kind of promotional appeal in the form of the organization of the trade fair and expenses, then that should also be in lieu of the, or in alignment with the meeting out the needs and the objectives of your pricing strategy. Now moving to the next slide, this says that now this is all about the pricing strategy, and in this session we have dealt with the different kind of components, what are the pricing strategies which the service provider has to go in for, and I hope that you people have understood the different kind of components of the pricing strategy, and what are the important kind of variables that the service providers has to look into for before designing out a suitable pricing strategy, what are the important components that they have to go in for, that they have to think in for. So, I hope that you have understood, and till then stay safe and stay blessed. In the next discourse, we will be meeting with the next topic. Thank you all for joining.